sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal wéef nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jar Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jar Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jar Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jar Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jar Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jar Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
It's Tuesday, and as always on Coffee Time, we are joined by the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay. He's here to brief the nation on key government policies, clarify ongoing developments, and address the misinformation circulating in the public space. With several major issues dominating national conversation this week, we turn now to Dr. Ceesay for the latest updates and explanations. Dr. Ceesay, good to have you back. Let's start with all the updates you bring to the table this morning before I ask a few questions on new trending issues. It's over to you.
Good morning. Good morning. I think I've got one or two updates from government.
Okay.
One has to do with the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The government, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, has issued an official statement expressing serious concern over the escalating tensions in the Middle East. The Republic of the Gambia remains firmly committed to peace, diplomacy, and respect for international law. And we have called on all parties to exercise restraint, prioritize dialogue, and ensure the protection of civilian life. Our foreign policy as a government remains principled and consistent. That is, advocating for peaceful resolution of conflicts and supporting global stability. That is the one. The other one has to do with ongoing operations in Jinak Island.
Okay.
Jinak has been renowned for cannabis cultivation for decades, which was largely possible due to the myth. There was a myth that law enforcement officers cannot enter Jinak, and that misfortune will befall you if you enter Jinak as a law enforcement officer. Now, government see this now as a misconception, and recently an operation was carried out in Jinak to destroy these cannabis farms. In the there are 4 Jinaks, 2 are in Senegal and 2 in Gambia. So the 2 Jinaks which are in Gambia, Government did the operation. They are the Jinak Nigi and Jinak Kajata. They are in Gambia. These operations were very successful. They took place on the 28th of February and also on the 1st of March. Now, all in all, a total of 60 farms were uprooted and burned to ashes, including 14 bags of cannabis that were found in those two farms. Now, we commend the law enforcement agencies with the leadership of DILIC, Drug Law Enforcement Agency, for the very good job they've done to make sure that law is enforced in this country and that the public safety is prioritized. Now, another thing is that government understands that Jinak has also been used as a hub for irregular migration. Now, what the government is going to do now is to establish security presence in the island, and a police station will be built to ensure permanent law enforcement presence to deter continuation of cannabis farming in the island, but also to stop irregular migration. Now, government also notes that for many years, cannabis was the only source of livelihood for many people in that island. Now, what government is doing now is to support the diversification of livelihoods in that region by making sure that, one, we are going to provide fishing boats to some of the villagers who are interested as an alternative livelihood of the people. But also, NAWEC is also going to start a program in Jinak, which is aimed at electrifying the village, and this would contribute to providing the much needed social amenities in Jinak, but also promote trade and business in the region. So we are not only enforcing law by destroying cannabis farms, which is illegal, unlawful, which is also a danger to security. We are also going to support them to diversify livelihoods by providing fishing boats and other support as well, but also making sure that we are going to electrify the whole of Jinak. When you bring electricity, that can also provide more opportunities for people to do business. Now, moving forward, law enforcement agencies will continue to enhance a robust community engagement with the view to encourage the people of Jinak to be open to government initiatives, to alternative livelihoods, instead of only focusing on cannabis cultivation. So the operation was successful, that which many thought will never be possible. Government has done it, and we commend the law enforcement agencies, in particular Drug Law Enforcement Agency DILIC, for this very good job.
I am itching to ask, did they go in there wearing uniforms? Because there is particular reference always made about uniform to
of course. This was a myth. They went with uniforms. So far, there is no misfortune against those officers that went. That was the myth that officers...
I cannot help but wonder where that myth came from. It was so strong.
It was strong, yeah. But so that's it. So as a government, we don't believe in those things. We enforce the law in a manner in which, we ensure the people are secure, the country is secure.
Other development priorities that you mentioned about them happening there now, are we to believe that these things were not there before, or
which one?
As a result of electricity?
No. So now government is going to electrify both villages. NAWEC will start that work as soon as possible, because when you bring electricity and electrify the whole village, as part of our drive to achieve universal access to electricity, it also opens other opportunities for trade, for businesses, and also for services as well. And this could also bring business to the community, to the island.
The alleged fuel contamination at the main depot.
Yes, I think PURA has released a statement that this is under investigation. They're assessing and they've taken samples, and they're assessing where it has happened, the extent to which it has happened, and why it has happened. So until the investigation is done, I think it wouldn't be wise for me to make further comments. And this will wait for PURA to, as the regulator that regulates downstream energy sector, is their job that when there are suspected incidences, is for them to investigate and report to the public. Yesterday they released a statement saying that yes, this has been brought to their attention by the I think they are called MNOs, those who sell fuel, that they suspected that fuel is contaminated. So they are investigating, and until that investigation is ready, we won't be able to comment further on this issue.
Government has not been given any heads up as to why such a thing could happen, even though
you can only find out through investigations. These things happen. And incidences happen. And there are procedures when incidents. I mean, and it could be anything. It could be, like I said, it's contaminated, suspect, but so we can avoid it happening in the future. We need to know who has really was there neglect of duty, who did what, which institutions failed. We need to know. We need to investigate and know exactly what happened. Otherwise, it wouldn't be wise for us to make statements when we don't know exactly the extent of it, to why it happened. And then we need to know these things. And only an investigation can let us know. And I think PURA, as the competent authority, is doing that for now. And I think they'll inform the public in due course with their findings.
If indeed the investigation happens as it should, and it is found out that something actually is concrete about what is being alleged.
Well, that's a hypothetical question. I wouldn't know exactly. Only PURA can know exactly what penalties are in place. I wouldn't be able to know what PURA will do.
Government wouldn't anticipate to handle it in any way or any sort of way.
Like, what do you mean?
You would wait for it. You would rather wait until PURA tells you.
Because PURA is a competent authority that regulates this sector. They would know exactly what are the procedures. Investigations are done. What are the procedures next? Who is found wanting? Was it neglect? Was it accident? We need to know. And we cannot be able to speak on these things until we have a comprehensive report, a comprehensive incident report that tells us exactly what is happening. For now, it is speculation. They need to first, that's why they took samples to test it in the labs, to see whether it is indeed contaminated. Right now, we don't even know whether it is, because we need to do the testing. Suspected contamination, but we need to do the testing in the lab. If you believe that you have if you have a symptom of diarrhea, for example, but it's a symptom, you go to the lab to test, to establish it is indeed diarrhea.
To confirm if it indeed is
diarrhea. What did you
diarrhea or food poisoning?
And then we'll find out what do you eat. Was someone negligent in giving you something? Maybe the lady who's selling mburo ak sipa sipa could not finish the sipa sipa. We could not sell everything the night before. Didn't preserve it with the right temperature. Muyahu. And you eat it in the morning. Is she negligent? So we need to investigate to find out exactly what happened. We cannot come and say, okay, this is serious business. We cannot be speculating on this thing. We need to do a thorough investigation to know exactly what has happened for us to be able to take the right course of action.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that then. Okay, now on the ongoing trial involving the former lands minister, we have it all over the place, and others have alleged that, this has renewed concerns about corruption. What message does the government want to convey to Gambians to take away from this?
But this is right. It should not renew concerns about corruption. What it should do, on the other hand, is to give people hope that government is doing something to fight corruption. It's to give people hope that now the systems are in place to detect corruption. That is the positive. That is what we should focus on. Corruption has been here since God knows when. You cannot tell me corruption is new in this country.
I'm hoping this government will treat it different.
That is what we are doing. That is why we are taking people to court. That is why we are taking action. That is why we're detecting. We've put systems to detect it. Corruption reporting has increased now, no doubt. But also, measures to combat it have been robust through conscious government policy and legislation. That is why this is happening. That is why now we are detecting it. That is why now we are taking people to court every day, every year on the newspapers. In fact, I saw yesterday a former public official taken to court for stealing tablets. Tablets. So
I believe we read something about it on some of our front pages today as well.
Us taking action, taking people to court. But now remember, there are separation of powers in this country. And the purpose of that is to promote democracy all over. And that is any democracy. So that there are checks and balance. So no one organ of government can abuse its power. So that's what they call checks and so they check and balance each other. The executive, judiciary, legislative. What the executive can do is to detect, prosecute, take it. The courts now decides. When it's in the courts, we cannot get it because we have independent judiciary in this country. That is why sometimes government loses cases in the courts. Recently, there was a high-profile case. I think that was the government lost with the Abdullah Sanyang case.
Yes.
Even though government has appealed. So when it's in the courts, government executive has no say anymore because the courts are independent. It's an independent judiciary. What we can do is that Aji is suspected of corruption against the laws of the Republic of the Gambia. What we can do is to investigate to a competent authority, which is the police, and prosecute through another competent authority, which is either the Ministry of Justice or the police as the prosecutor, and the courts decide the case based on the evidences presented. Based on the evidences presented. Recently, some people were accused of diplomatic passport fraud. They have freed by the courts because there was no evidence. So we cannot just rush and then make allegations and conclusions at the same time. Unfortunately, now we have two courts in the Gambia. We have the social media courts and the law courts. And before the law courts are ready, social media courts already prosecuted and convicted the person.
And talking about the social media courts, they can counterclaim by saying, what if something like the Dr. Banja case happens again? These guys get prosecuted only to be...
To be what?
Set free by the president.
No, it's not set free, it's pardoned. And the president has a prerogative.
That's different?
No, it's different.
Okay.
If a government takes a case to court for prosecution,
yes,
and that's a conviction by the court that Mr. X is supposed to serve time in prison for this number of years,
yes,
and you are serving time in prison, the president, in line with the constitution, has powers to pardon anybody who's serving time and mild too. It could be on health grounds, it could be on any grounds. Now, if it's called the prerogative of mercy, and mercy means empathy, yërmande. Nga gis ne kii dëgga convict nañ ko, prosecute nañ ko, he's been convicted, he's paid for his crime. Conviction alone means you've already paid for your crime. You are serving time at mile 2. You get sick. You get sick to the extent that it's not even in the public's interest anymore to keep you in prison. The president can pardon you. You've already been, the fact that you've been convicted, you've already been given so much public shame, that alone is punishment. So if Dr. Banja, for one reason or the other, the prerogative mercy committee were advised to say, listen, this guy is not no more in the public's interest for him to be in prison. Pardon him. It's the president's prerogative to pardon that person. But one thing I can tell you that this government has a zero tolerance on corruption. And the president made this very clear in his independent speech. Zero tolerance. We are not accepting corruption. Where anybody is corrupt and we have enough evidence, we'll take you to court and we'll prosecute you. It's for the courts now to determine your fate.
You gave a scathing assessment of Apex in one of your recent programs with Peter. How do you greet the Apex announcement? Is it a positive move?
For which one?
Anywhere you want to start with them.
Announcement is that?
They just announced that they're coming together and...
No, I mean the Trivergence Accord.
They are forming their Trivergence Accord.
I laughed.
Why?
It has confirmed to the Gambian public what we have been saying about the opposition over the past years.
Which is?
All they engage in is acrimony and insults.
Why so?
That is what the accord is saying. The accord is saying, let me just put it into layman's terms, that we who have signed this accord, we agreed to stop insulting each other and to be acrimonious to each other and to be hostile to it. That is what the accord is saying. The accord did not say about alliance. Read the accord properly. It says we who have signed this accord agree that amongst ourselves we will not insult each other anymore. We will not be hostile to each other anymore. And all the parties to this accord should be friendly to each other. I don't have a problem with it. I like it. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, because we have no place for acrimony and insults and hostility in our politics. So any group that comes to say we are fighting insults in our politics, but there's a problem with the accord.
You said amongst themselves.
That's what I'm coming now. Allow me. There's a problem with the accord. It says only among themselves. So they are giving license for people to insult and be hostile to parties outside of the accord.
Is it?
That's what the accord is saying. That is what it is saying. That parties to this accord should not be hostile to each other, should not insult each other, and should coexist in peaceful coexistence amongst each other. What does it say? It means those outside of the accord are not immune from the insults. So this accord tells me only two things. One, it has confirmed what we've been saying, that opposition, they've already validated what we've been saying, that they insult each other. That is why they brought this accord. What was the point of this accord if they didn't realize that there was a problem? People find solutions when there's a problem. They detected there was a problem, that they insult each other every day online and insult other political parties. To now, as an antidote to that, they brought an accord. But the accord is only for themselves, so that they stop insulting themselves, but they give license to that supposed to insult those who are not in the accord. So if you don't want to be insulted anymore, go and join the accord. That's what the accord is about.
Will you be joining?
Aji, xam nga dafa yomba. Ñoom dañu wax ne ñoom ne ñu ngi doon saagante ak xaste. Pour ñu bàyyi xaste gi ak saagante gi, ñu ne léegi nañ ñëw defar accord boo xam ne ñun mi nekk si accord bi duñ saagante duñ xaste wante. waaye képp koo xam ne nekkuloo si accord bi nag mun nañu kundi la saaga. Loolu mooy accord bi. Du dara, du coalition, du dara. waaye ñu ba dañ foog ne coalition dañoo form. Non, du benn coalition. Discuss suñ coalition sax. Luñ discuss mooy ne dañ dee nekk di saagante ñu ni neen te ñun ñoo nekk si opposition bi. léegi képp ku ñoo nga signé accord bi yow léegi bokk nga léegi duñ la saagaat. kon ñi xam nañ ne kon ñi dégga bantuwaat nañ ne ñun luñ la wax dégga la mooy ñu ngi nekk di saagante ñoomi neen. amuñ alternative. nekkuñ di wax li nga xam ne moo loolu la askan bi bu ko dégga saagante. léegi ñu ne léegi ñu baa saag ñu ni neen suñ biir. waaye képp ku si bokkul nag mun nañ la continuer la saaga. loolu rek la loolu accord bi du qualité dara loolu rek la.
du coalition du dara.
du dara. ñu ni neen dañ dee saagante te ñoo bokk opposition léegi ñu ñëw ñu mànkoo bàyyi saagante waaye ba saagante gi nag dañ ko bàyyi ñun suñ jë ñu misigné ñun 5 yu saañ ñu ne ndek la ku si bokkul nag mu nekkoon continuer di la saaga mooy accord bi.
loolu.
dina wax de.
man kay doy na lii kay loolu kay su dee loolu la moom moo raw doy waar.
loolu lañ fa bind ñu ne ñëw they are going to promote coexistence among those who are part of the accord. They'll not be hostile to each other. They'll not insult each other. In fact, they went forward to say they'll tell their supporters to stop insulting those parties in the accord. It means they've accepted that their supporters were insulting people.
Language. Anyways.
That's what they said in the accord. I'm not making it up. I read it.
You read it?
That they will tell their supporters and sympathizers to stop the insults and stop the hostilities amongst those who are in the accord.
But you will agree that it would, cause a harmony, in the atmosphere.
Listen. Well,
we're talking about a good number of
what I'm saying
a good number of parties there signing to.
Out of almost 40 parties and movements in this country, it's only 4 or 5. I don't know 6. Not even 10%. Only 5. I don't know 6. Yeah. Now, and for me, the language is important. Like I said, they validated the fact that they were never offering solutions to Gambia's many problems that they were always saying existed, or alternatives to those problems that they say existed. And now they validated that all they were doing was insulting each other and being hostile to each other. Okay. And to stop that, they said, we who have signed this accord pledge not to insult each other anymore, not to be hostile to each other anymore, and to create a friendly and harmonious environment for us to coexist in. And that parties to this accord, this should apply to them. Now, if Citizens Alliance don't sign this accord, it means that license has been given for them people to continue insulting Citizens Alliance. But if we join this accord, now they'll consider not insulting us. Pure and simple.
Let's look at the central bank. It has slashed the policy rate by an unusually large 200 basis points. It is one of the most dramatic monetary policies, I must say, in recent years. And the governor's upbeat outlook has raised both hope and serious questions. Now, when can Gambians realistically expect to feel this reality as far as prices?
The central bank is responsible for monetary policy. And monetary policy, one of them is interest rates. Interest rates are good because what they do is that during some of them, at some point, they bring down inflation. That is why central banks all over the world, the Fed in the US, the English Central Bank, they always make sure that they monitor the economy to be able to know whether to raise or reduce interest rates. Now, let me give you in layman terms. The cost of borrowing can be expensive because of the interest. If you borrow $100 and the interest is $20, it discourages people to borrow to invest. Now, if you bring interest rates down, what it does is that it brings in more cash into the economy. People will borrow. When they borrow, they invest. When they invest, they employ. When they employ, people are employed, people have money, people spend. It moves the economy. That is the benefit of reducing interest rates at some point. Because if you bring interest rate of 14% like the central bank did, it means that the cost of borrowing is cheap now. Now I can be able to borrow from the bank at a not a very expensive interest rate and open a business and employ people. People are employed, they are paid. When they are paid, they spend. When they are spent, those who sell to those people, they also make money. So immediately you'll feel the positive impact of these rate cuts. They're very good.
Like you just mentioned, this is expected to, dribble down to better the lives of Gambians.
Of course.
And of course, the CBG expects the rate cuts to support growth. And
that's what I'm saying. It supports growth because if that's what supports growth, the money flowing into the economy.
So, what would you say government believes this would benefit the most? Because if you want to just put it out there like that,
no, but supporting growth supports everybody.
It can be all over the place.
If the economy grows,
yes,
everybody benefits. If our economy grows, even you get more adverts. Adverts cost very dear. You get more adverts, you get more business. When the economy grows, if a household economy grows, if the household economy was $50 last year, and this year $100, who benefits? The whole household benefits. This is a pro-growth interest rate cut.
Not necessarily.
It benefits everybody. Everybody. It trickles down. There is an impact. It has a positive impact across the board. Because if I get employed, I spend money. When I spend, I buy. When I buy, people who sell also make money. So it's simple economics. But let me come to something which I want to bring to your attention. I want to do things that is not in mind. I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it. I don't like responding to political entities